Thank you, President. Colleagues, I will be less grateful than the previous speakers. From the very beginning, the IFM directive targeted the City of London, an industry that was sufficiently regulated by the British authorities already. As usual, the EU misses the point. It is the banks' reckless lending that caused an almighty credit bubble and the financial crisis, and not the alternative investment funds. Will this regulation prevent a further crisis? Absolutely not. But it will certainly succeed in driving away managers from London. Sadly, they will not go to Paris or Frankfurt, but instead further afield to New York and Singapore. Are we in a position to afford such business laws? Of course not. But the EU does not care. This directive will add significantly to the cost of these funds and reduce returns, driving smaller funds out of business. Its capital requirements will make it difficult for private equity funds, and it is venture capital start-ups that will suffer the consequences. Funny enough, the Commission claims it wants to encourage research, development and entrepreneurship to restore growth to the European economy. Instead of encouraging venture capital, they are putting their trust in public funding, which is too cumbersome and useless for this purpose. It is also incredible to see how the EU has designed this directive from its ivory tower, turning deaf ears to the regulatory developments in the rest of the world, and adopting a protectionist and arrogant method where the European Securities and Marketing Agency will have the last word on who does business in Europe and where European funds invest. But where is Mr. Cameron in all of this? He has betrayed the City of London, the most important British industry. He has allowed yet another transfer of power to Brussels without giving the British people a referendum. On behalf of the British alternative fund managers, I can only say thank you very much, Mr. Cameron. Don't come to us to help reactivate the British economy. Thank you.
And just to disagree with Mrs. Andreasen, I don't think this is an obstacle to the competitiveness of the financial industry. I think it's rather the opposite. As I said on January the 13th, this is a competitive advantage over other areas of the world that now gradually, and we haven't finished yet, bring greater transparency and clarity and maybe a bit more ethics. It's the first time we brought in European regulations in this very important area, and this will significantly lead to the achievement of more ambitious objectives. In the work done by Parliament and Council with the Commission. The improvement is surveillance of systemic risk, the better protection of investors, as Mrs. Bowles said, improved responsibility of the private equity sector, and a proper single market for alternative investment funds,